welcome to Today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and we've got a great episode today. We have our Mayor Scott Galvin, as always, who's so generous with his time. We've got Representative Rich Haggerty with us, and we're going to talk about legislations and hearings and state buildings and all kinds of things that are happening there. And then very excited to have Gretchen and Morgan from the Spectrum Club at the high school who are going to talk to us about a really awesome contest that's running through Social Capital Inc. and all the things that are happening there. So welcome, everyone. And Scott, we'll have you come up first.
Okay.
I'm thrilled to have you on board. I have seen, so nomination papers went, right? I've seen everybody starting to post and get excited, and we've got I know you're running again. You've shared that with us before. We've got a couple of city council positions that are opening, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then 5 school committee members are up for positions are open, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So every alderman position is open. I pulled my papers this morning. I know a couple. There were probably half dozen people in before me pulling papers. So it's a good day to start, and looking forward to another campaign and getting out there. And now it's good. With seems with COVID loosening up, restrictions loosening up, you'll actually be able to get out and campaign. So it's exciting time.
Yeah. You know, I was going to ask you about that because one of the traditional ways in local city elections like this is people often will go door to door or hold, sort of intimate get-togethers and things, which of course everybody wants to be safe and such. So are there really aren't any unique restrictions related to campaigning at this point? Like, I didn't know, for example, if signatures still have to be in person or if you can electronically collect them or anything like that.
That's an excellent question, but they haven't loosened that restriction. So at this point, you'll have to get them. We still are getting them in person. It might create a little bit of a problem, but you'll get your signatures if you have to. Everybody will go out and get them.
Yeah. And the numbers are relatively modest, right? It's 100 for some positions and 50 for the other, if I'm correct.
Yeah, 100 for mayor, 100, I think is it 50 for at large? Richard would tell you, but I think it's 50 at large, 10 for an alderman.
Okay.
School committee might be 50. So yeah. And you have, the papers, it's a long season, which, I've always wondered why, but you pull the papers today and people have till July 27th to get them returned. So there's a good period of time there.
Great. Well, I'm excited to see that. I love this. That's how the show started, as you know, right? We started interviewing people during election cycles, and we never went away. You got stuck with it.
That's how you got stuck. I remember you calling me. I said, "Who is this?
Who is this Samantha that wants to talk to me?" That right? Like this is great. So
you've done a great job building up the following.
Yeah, well, I'm just thrilled that obviously we're lucky. We have a community. We don't have a lot of newspapers in the area that do a lot of in-depth stuff. So I am so grateful that I get a chance to ask all my questions and curiosities and share that with people. So it's my pleasure to do it. I do want to talk a little bit about our episode last time, Scott. So after our discussion last time, I think there was some confusion about you had used the phrase when we were talking about the home invasion in North Woburn, that this was an alleged victim. And it, I think, cascaded and created a lot of speculation, probably a lot of speculation that should never have happened. And so I just wanted to, give you an opportunity to clarify anything related to that might be additional information to share, or just, make sure people understand what you meant.
Yeah, I don't have any additional information to share. It's a police investigation. I did speak to the gentleman. I called him. He called me. We've had a discussion, and he was, I told him what our position was. That he was, the detectives were working on the case, trying to get in touch with him, and there was a little, miscommunication. He's, we've got 2 detectives actively working on it.
Good.
I reassured him that any contact he needed to make, that he should call them whenever he wants to. The chief has been working on the case, so I don't want to say it is what it is. It's a terrible incident, and the police are working on trying to find out how it happened, what happened. I know that the chief has made a statement, which you've seen as well as I do, about how they feel so far. So I'm not the investigator. I'm here to make sure that there is an open line of communication, and that the to assure people there is an active investigation. Our police are working hard on the case.
Good. Well, I appreciate that. One of the things that I think we sometimes forget is Woburn is a city and we have, a reasonable number of residents and things, but we don't actually have a dedicated communications people. Some cities do. But sometimes, things like this, are there any, policies or things that we do have in place that, residents should know about? So when a crime happens or an incident of any, sort of community dies, what's the criteria by which we proactively communicate with folks? Is there anything related?
The police department does proactive, if there is an incident that happens, they do proactively communicate to the area when there's a direct threat to the, as they determine, and they're the professionals. The police department's the professionals. We got an excellent chief and a great detective department. They make the decision. They talk to me about it. But there have been a number of cases that high profile cases get out there right away and people are seeing them. So like I said, we do have an active communications policy, and the police are aware of that. And when they feel that there is something that requires residents in the area to be notified, they definitely put it out there, and they do discuss it with me as well, and that's how we go forward.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. And I thank you for talking about that. I just wanted to sort of make sure everybody understood sort of the current state and what was the situation there. A lot of folks have been asking, because that was an extreme and violent incident. And we hope that not hear anything else like that at all forever, frankly. But there have been a number of other, car break-ins and, sort of smaller things that are happening, concentrating in that area. Are you aware of any additional patrolling or anything that we can or should do, or neighborhood watch types of activities to support that area of the city that seems to be getting maybe they're not having a higher number of crimes than anywhere else, but there's a perception that they are. I don't actually know the numbers.
Good question. We do a stat meeting once a month. We work with police, fire, DPW, water and sewer issues, and we do a mapping of where actual crimes are occurring. So maybe we can get that out there so people see what's going on, if there's anything different than normal, or people are just, some people may be seeing different, but we'll get the information out there about what the trending of, crimes is, and if we're seeing a spike, but.
Good. Well, I hope the data shows that we're not. And if we are, I trust that the police department and folks will take, appropriate actions.
Yeah.
A couple other little things. I did want to just mention, this isn't specifically for you, Scott, but the Social Concern Food Pantry is having their annual auction. It's virtual this year. It was a lot of fun. I might have been outbid on ice cream like 3 times. I'm starting to feel like maybe I should not keep fighting for that ice cream and go focus on some other things, but lots of fun things. So I just want to make sure that I think today's the last day to bid. So folks, tomorrow when this airs. So we're filming on Monday, but on Tuesday is the actual last day when this will be aired. So we'll make sure that people know about that.
Yeah, this is the second year it's been virtual. It's, Rich and I have been, that's the John McElhenney annual fundraiser. And it's, he and I probably attended for 10 years now, since it started, Rich, right?
I love it. So what are we bidding against you for? What did you bid on? Anything?
When it first started, I bid on the Doc Angelo's. I won that one year. That's the house in Maine.
Mahoney, that looks great.
Richard Mahoney used to do his place up in Vermont. I think it's for this one. Or maybe
I saw a place in Maine. I'm not sure whose home it is, but it looked beautiful. So that's awesome. Well, that's great.
Really, it's one of those where businesses, residents, everybody steps up and makes good donations and prizes, and they raise a good amount of money. So it's a great thing. Yeah,
there was some really fun stuff in there. Yeah. So I think as of the 1st, I may have the date wrong, there was a change to mask mandates in Massachusetts, where if you're outside and distant from other people, you no longer have to wear a mask. Some people were asking if there are any city, best of my knowledge, we've always talked, there's no city specific mandates. It's whatever the state has in place, correct?
We're following the state, but Boston delayed theirs for 3 weeks. I did read in the Globe today that you may have read it too in the metro section that Brookline and Salem were considering extending theirs, but you know, the CDC has made their recommendation, and it's, you know, I think it's, you know, we need to start moving forward. People are getting vaccinated. The numbers are stabilizing in Woburn, and you know, I think it's great that we're able to go outside without masks on, and you know, be responsible. Doesn't mean, you know, go crazy, but it's a good step, and it's a good step to us getting back to normal with more people getting vaccinated. So I think that's a natural progression, and you know, the CDC is making the recommendation. That's and the state, and that's the one we're going to follow.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to see any progress, and excited to see the numbers of you know, Woburn residents and stuff who have been able to be vaccinated. So that's all great stuff. Anything else going on you want to mention before I invite Rich on?
The only thing, fire station's moving ahead. We've you know, we got our bids in for the general contractors, slightly higher than slightly higher than we had estimated to be. So we're moving in that direction, just a little bit over. But we should have the contract with the GC signed, and we should see the groundbreaking by June 1st. And we got about 14 months of construction. So we're excited about that. And I know we say this, it was a team effort to get where we were. We needed help from Rich at the state level, and he helped us out immensely with getting the special legislation passed so we could use that little part of Forest Park. City Council was great, and we've had great cooperation from the fire department, the building committee, and everybody in City Hall. So, you know, we're excited about it and moving on to the next chapter.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I saw, like, I think it was the HVAC bid went out, and or a particular piece I saw on the website. So that's going to be wonderful, and so exciting to see the groundbreaking on that. So thanks, Scott, for joining us. I want to welcome Representative Rich Haggerty. Thanks for joining us, Rich.
Thanks, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Rich and I were talking before we started taping. You know, musical offices for his, and the State House building itself is closed for renovations right now, and but thrilled to have you there. I see you got the flag in the background, and so you got a good office going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're thrilled to have you here. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One in particular, we'd been chatting with Scott about the legislation that needed to be put in place in order to change the terms of library trustees so that we can, in fact, nominate or appoint, I guess, or however the right term is, you can correct me, the next trustee, the fifth trustee, so that those folks can meet and be able to support things like summer programming and some of the grounds work and things that the trustees had talked about supporting. Where are we at with the legislation? I know things are a little complicated right now with the way COVID has us working remotely and such.
Thanks. So, so the legislation was filed, came up to the State House, and was eventually filed just about the end of February. And that was put in right before the deadline for all bill filings. What happens is, from a process standpoint of view, I guess a couple of things. First of all, we've been backed up because, of course, of COVID. So our bill filing deadlines typically in January. We usually have about a month and a half or so of evaluation that's done by the House Clerk's office on all bills. And then public hearings usually begin sometime in late March or early April. This year, we're about a month and a half behind because of the restrictions around COVID, because of a variety of factors. Our session ran late, coming through 2020. So the reality is, it was filed the end of February. It's been in the clerk's office. It is being sent over to municipalities and regional government committee. Representative Ehrlich is the chairwoman there. I had a meeting with her on this bill 2 weeks ago to give her just a general overview of the bill. A public hearing I anticipate will take place probably sometime in the next 30 to 45 days. And then it will continue through the process. So anytime you have a charter change like this at state government level, it takes time. That's just the process. And, it's important because it's about how we function locally as a government. And, I appreciate the mayor's work on this project, and of course, the city council's efforts getting the legislation up as well. And, we're going to move things just as quickly as we can to push it through the process as fast as we can, while also respecting, of course, the public hearing process, the public input process. That's kind of what we're working our way through now.
Great. Thank you for the update. I think we're all curious, so it's good to know where we're at with that. So I want to talk a little bit about sort of at the state level. Are there any discussions about overall changes to mask mandates that might be coming? Like, is there a threshold of population % vaccinated or anything with vaccine rollout or sort of anything going on there that you want to catch us up on?
Not necessarily. I think, the governor's kind of laid out the plan for, I think, the next, 60 to 90 days with regards to where we think we're going to be. We've seen, obviously, the metrics very positive today. I think, the number of, the 7-day rolling average is below 1.5%, which is, the lowest it's been, I think, since probably mid to early October statewide. Which is a real good thing for us. And we're hopeful that trend's going to continue as the good weather continues, as more and more people get vaccinated, as we continue to, be cautious of gathering in large crowds and all those other, I think, steps that we've put in place to make sure that we keep each other safe. So I think over the course of the next 60 to 90 days, you're going to see, again, a slow step back to normal, and I think we're all prepared and ready for that. I think so. It's exciting.
Yeah, I might have to start wearing shoes on a regular basis again. I don't know how prepared I am for that, but I'm certainly eager to see folks again, and restaurants rebound and some of the other things that we all want for our community. So
yeah, it's so great, so critical. And I do just want to mention real quick, Sam, that last week the state house we did the budget for the state. We passed that on, I think, very early Thursday morning at about 3:00 in the morning. So we were able to get that over the hump, and
Right.
It's going to provide some critical support as it does every year for Woburn and for my whole district. And we had some specific targeted dollars for Woburn, which we'll hear more about later. And we want to make sure that our schools get all the resources that they need. We're going to be looking at the American Rescue Plan funds over the course of the next 30 days or so, which is, of course, about $4.5 billion statewide. Related to COVID expenses and making sure that we're continuing to be focused not just on kind of fighting back COVID, but also on encouraging where our economy is going in the future, and thinking about what type of steps we need to take to get there. So a lot of good things happening on that front as well as we kind of fight through the budget process.
So, Rich, that's really great news. Thank you so much for continuing to advocate for our city and making sure that we have as much support as we can for the businesses and the residents here. I think it's great. Anything else going on that we should know about?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Good. Well, we talked about money and legislation, and so those are two big things, right, that we covered. Appreciate you joining us, Rich, as always.
As always. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have up Gretchen Pollard-Ramos. I'm always mispronounce your name, Gretchen, and I'm so sorry.
All right.
Can you say it correctly?
Pollard-Ramos, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's.
Well, it does matter, but thank you. And Morgan's joined us today as well. And Morgan has the most beautiful color in her hair. I'm in love with the different colors that you have going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you both with us today. And today we're going to talk about, there's a contest running. Social Capital Inc. is running, and the Spectrum Club is participating in the pitch contest. Morgan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the contest is all about?
So basically, it's about helping the mental health and well-being needs of students in the school district. And our project was to basically buy and or get books, LGBTQ plus, and like intersectional books to help, I guess, affirm and include marginalized identities. So it's more about exposure, I guess, to those things at a younger age.
So I love it. So really, this is about making sure that all students recognize themselves in some of the books and materials that are available in the school and such. What a fun idea. Gretchen, tell us a little bit about, is this the first, I don't know if SCI has had this contest before. Is this the first time Spectrum Club has participated?
Well, it's the first time SCI has run it, and we actually, Morgan, another student, pitched the idea on Thursday. We don't know yet, what the final outcome is, but it was really interesting because SCI set it up so that we each group had a mentor. So we had a mentor from Washington, DC. He's an attorney. So it was really wonderful to have members from SCI and having a mentor partner that helped through the process. And it was a really interesting process to do this. And but the nice thing is having the pitch ready, we've been able to, reach out to other organizations and try to get, more support. And Cummings Foundation gave us $250, which was really wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And another organization, Hope in a Box, is donating a $500 valued book box to Woburn High. But then, our goal was really to get books for middle and elementary school. But, Hope in a Box really only works with middle and high school books, but they offered us a high school book box. So of course we're going to take that. But
Yes.
but it was really an interesting experience.
I love it. So Morgan, tell me about this. I don't know. Have you ever done anything like this before where you had to sort of put a proposal together and get in front of, a group of folks, I assume virtually, but still, and it's a different kind of presentation than you probably give it at school. Tell us about what that experience was like for you.
It was definitely nerve-wracking because especially once we got in the meeting, because there was a bunch of like executives and like people who were typically very important. So it was definitely—
You're very important too.
Different sort of important, but yeah. Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking, but it was fun to put together. There was a lot of work put into it, so I'm glad that it at least turned out all right. Obviously, we don't know the outcome yet, but the work that we put in, I think, paid off.
That's really awesome. And Gretchen, just for those who are watching, this is a program that's basically, so if I remember correctly, community was invited to come in and pitch different ideas, really youth across the community. And then they were teamed with a mentor to sort of help refine that. And then SCI has a set number of grants that they will financially support. Is that an accurate description?
Yes, that is correct. So the SCI had $4,000, and the groups, actually, there were some groups from other cities. So there were some groups from Winchester. So it was kind of nice to see, across other cities, and, very different ideas. So it was definitely very different organizations. So, a group from the Boys and Girls Club, a group from Winchester High School. So it was nice to see that it was, outside of schools somewhat. And, but, everyone had the same goal of improving mental health of the youth. So there's really, I'm really impressed that SCI thought to put this together, because it's a really great idea, because it was a really empowering contest.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I love when there's rallying around ideas. Morgan, tell us a little bit about how you determined that this was the idea to bring forward. There's lots of things that I'm sure you could have thought of. I really love the idea of, literature, and I think you had some other components to the proposal as well. Tell us how this came to be and why you decided to move forward with this idea.
So I believe it was a different person in our group that attended the meeting that was our early meetings that came up with the idea, but I think that everyone that was there realized that we, or just people in general in our schools, didn't have that much exposure to inclusive literature and just imagery when we were younger, especially in elementary and middle school. So I think that definitely helped just bring the idea forth. It was definitely a group effort though, so.
But I love group ideas are always the best, right? They build on something and move forward. Well, I love it. I'm so glad. Thank you both for sharing this. I will keep my fingers crossed for you and the other contestants. It sounds like a wonderful program and opportunity, and really appreciate you coming on and chatting about it. Anything that the community can do to support this particular project, but also other things that you guys have been working on?
So I believe that we're going to be having a book drive soon. I'm not sure if we have a set date yet. Ms. Pollard-Ramos, I'm not sure where we are in that, but
So we're waiting right now. We're hoping that when we have a flag raising downtown, that we can also have the kickoff for our book drive on that day. We haven't set the day and time for the flag raising yet, but when we do, we will be asking for the community to participate in donating books. But obviously donations are great too, to be able to help us reach our goal as well.
Well, I love it. Nothing about this year has been usual. And so yet everybody is still continuing to do things that are really important. So thank you both for joining us as always. And for those of you who are watching, thank you as always for joining us, and continue to take good care of each other.
Thank you.